In today's YouTube video, we're going over the top 5 meta assault rifle loadouts you guys need to be using in the current meta. If y'all enjoy, be sure to give it a like for the algorithm, subscribe as notifications turned on, and let's hop into this. First gun we're gonna get here breakdown is gonna be the Kastov 762, one of my favorite personal assault rifles, one of the hardest hitting guns in the entire game. First attachment here is gonna be the TY-LR8 for that increase in horizontal recoil control. This gun will bounce around side to side here just a little bit, but when you really mitigate that, it just pretty much leaves you that vertical recoil, which is entirely okay because we can control that so much easier than you can with horizontal. The tuning on that is going to be a plus 0.70 and a plus 0.14. Now we're going to go through on the CAS-10 584mm barrel foot increase in damage range, bullet velocity, hipfire accuracy, and of course recoil control. This is what makes this thing super effective at those longer ranges, so I'd highly recommend y'all actually run this barrel pretty much exclusively. The tuning on that is going to be a plus 0.37 and a minus 0.23, just giving us a little bit more ADS speed, as when you go for that damage range, it really doesn't do that much at all. It actually kind of hurts the gun, so that's why we tune it for this. Now we're gonna go down here, run the FTAC gripper 56 for that aiming idle stability, hipfire accuracy, and of course recoil stabilization. This is overall pretty much like, you know, our tried and true underbarrel that we've run on so many different guns, just because it works out beautifully. And unfortunately, they still have tuning removed, so don't fear for any guys that have your guns maxed out. I mean, I can't even tune these as well. You can see this right here, it is not tunable, so just leave it as is. Now we're gonna go down here, run the 40 round mag here, because I'm about to say a 40 round mag kind of guy, but I'm really, a 60. But this is the maximum we got right here, so we have to go for it. Otherwise, we'll run like a 20, which is, I don't know who would ever do that. Or we have the basic 30, which is not acceptable either. So we got to go for that 40. That's kind of one of like the only downsides to this gun right here. Lastly, we're gonna go up in here, we're gonna run the MW2. So we have a couple different sights here we can throw up there as our sight of choice. One of the other options would be something like a Cronin Mini Pro, like a red dot sight or something like that. You guys could definitely go for something like that. The aim op, or my other favorite one to be able to run is the SC Recharge. I like kind of cycling between the SC, the aim op, and like a Cronin Mini Pro, something like that. Those three optics right there, you can't really go wrong with, especially if you're playing like, Resurgence, something like that, which I'm sure a lot of you guys out there are. Definitely recommend any of those three. And the general kind of consensus for tuning them is you want to go for ADS speed. So on this in particular, we have a minus 2.13. Then I maxed out the bottom for that far distance. And on guns that have a little bit more of that visual recoil, like the Kastov 762, pushing it out a little bit farther will sometimes kind of mitigate that, because obviously on 120 FOV, and when you push it out a little bit farther, it can kind of make that jump look a little bit less and make it look like you have a bit more of a laser beam weapon, which is obviously a really good thing. So that is my thing. But closer far distance, personal preference, not going to really affect the gun. It just looks visually maybe a little bit different. But that's my full build there for the 762. Now let's jump in here. We're going to run the Kastov 545. So this thing got a pretty sizable buff within the most recent update, and this is definitely up there with the 762 is like your #1 AR to be able to run. This thing is a certified laser beam, so let's show you guys the build for it. First one's going to be that Komodo Heavy, that increase in horizontal recoil control. The tuning on that is going to be a plus 0.36 and a plus 0.11. Now we're gonna go up in here, run the IG-K30 406mm barrel. This is definitely a fantastic barrel to be able to run, increase in recoil control, bullet velocity, damage range, and of course hipfire accuracy. I mean, you really can't complain right there. It's all the pros we want. Minus that hipfire accuracy, that's just kind of like thrown in there. We don't really care about it too much, but overall it is really good. The tuning is going to be a plus 0.18 and a minus 0.21. Now we're gonna go down here once again, run the FTAC gripper 56. You guys know what this does, and of course, unfortunately, like I said, you can't tune any of these right now. I'm not exactly sure what it was. I think there was a glitch, but if we go down here a little bit farther for some of the underbarrel grenade launchers, and I think that's the reason why we actually couldn't tune our regular foregrip, so we kind of just have to leave it as is. Of course, we go down here, throw on the 60 round mag. We have the option for the 45 and the 60. Definitely recommend you guys for exclusively going for that 60. It doesn't make sense to go for the 45. It just really doesn't. If you're playing, especially if you're playing trios and quads, having 60 is huge. Even in solos, I just go for 60. And lastly, we're gonna go through on that AMOP before. I do happen to have one of those different skins on here because I purchased different bundles, so that's why I have that purple reticle. I like to kind of switch that out as opposed to just having the regular red one. I believe I have like a green and a yellow or something else like that, but I like switching it out from the basic red. But either way, it's okay. And on this one, you can also go for something like the SC Recharge. I probably would stick away from the Cronin Mini Pro because I just don't really feel like it's all that great on this gun, but the aim op and the SC work out fantastic. And the tuning on that is going to be a minus 2.90, aka maxed out there and maxed out for that far distance. So that is my full build there for the 545. Now we're gonna get in here and have a little bit of fun, and we're gonna run the TR-76 Geist as our third gun here for this top 5. This is overall fantastic assault rifle, and they even had to try to nerf this thing a little bit just because it was so unbelievably good. I mean, go figure, a new gun making it really good. I mean, that's just kind of how it should be. Anyways, the Tempest GH50 is our first attachment that vertical recoil control. Definitely helps really stabilize the gun out, which I really like. The tuning on that is gonna be a plus 0.80 and a plus 0.20. Now we're gonna go up in here, we're gonna run the Bruin Brittle 60, that increase in recoil control and bullet velocity. This is just a fantastic barrel right here. I think I tried to run the Bruin Brittle Heavy originally, but overall the recoil control in this just felt so much better. So I'd probably recommend sticking to the Bruin Brittle 60 as opposed to the Heavy. Also, it's not gonna slow you down as much, so definitely go for this. The tuning on that is gonna be a plus 0.40 and a plus 0.17. I'm gonna go down here. You guys kind of know the drill on this one, ain't gotta explain it. And, you know, aiming idle stability for accuracy and recoil stabilization, kind of just explained it, even though I said I really wasn't going to. But it works out great on so many different assault rifles. It's just kind of one of those staple attachments. If you're not running like an ammunition or something like that, then you're probably going to go for like an FTAC Ripper. Got to go throw on that 45 round mag here down the bottom. That's pretty much our only option. We're not running that 30. That's just kind of pathetic. We're going to go for that's 45. I was about to say 60, but we don't have the option for that. I prefer like a 50 or 60 on this gun, but you know, we're going to make do. And lastly, I actually have the SC recharge on this. So honestly, I just prefer the SC recharge. This is just one of those guns where I feel like it looks a little bit cooler. It's not going to make a difference in your overall, you know, output of the gun. It just looks cool to me. So that's why I got that. And the tuning on that is going to be minus 1.94 and all they max out there on the bottom for that far distance, making sure I got the least amount of visual recoil possible. So that's my full build there overall for the TR-76 Geist. Next up, we're going to be taking a look here at the M13B. This thing tried to get a bit of a nerf, but it's still incredibly good. And I'd recommend for you guys to try it out or just use it if you're not really using it or you want to switch up your loadouts a little bit. Of course, we have that Komodo Heavy in here for that horizontal recoil control. That's kind of a bit of a reoccurring theme is running compensators instead of suppressors because a lot of these guns do like to bounce, but when you can mitigate that, it makes them very usable and pretty laser beam like. The tuning is gonna be a plus 0.44 and a plus 0.15. We're gonna go up in here in the Bruin Echelon barrel for our next attachment. As you guys can see, my gun was kind of glitching out there, likes to do that sometimes, but that increase in damage range, bullet velocity, recoil control, and hipfire accuracy is always welcome. It's pretty much the same thing I think as one of the barrels I think for the 545, but this is just fantastic and it makes it, you know, more effective at range. The tuning is gonna be a plus 0.40 and a plus 0.34. Now we're gonna go down here. We're actually gonna run the 5.56 high velocity rounds instead of running an underbarrel because you actually do get the ability to have that increase in bullet velocity. And funny enough, it does help out with your recoil control almost sometimes better than like an FTAC Ripper. And we can actually tune this, which is pretty cool as well. So we got a minus 0.45 and a minus 3.48 there on the bottom. You go down here and of course run that 60 round mag. I'm a 60 round mag kind of guy, so you know I love running that 60. It's just kind of what it is. Definitely go to run that. This is a high fire rate assault rifle, so I mean I just don't think 45 is going to cut it kind of regardless, so go for that 60. And lastly, we have the SC recharge here once again. One of my favorite optics to be able to run in this game, and for me, like I said, it's personal between, you know, the aim op, the SE recharge. I just kind of like what looks cooler. Is it gonna still feel good to me? It's just one of those things. It's not gonna make a difference in the performance of the gun. I just like how it looks. Minus 2.23 there, so obviously got to tune for that aim down sight speed, and we actually have this for close because this gun has so little recoil that I feel like I can pull that optic closer to me and hit some of those longer range targets with ease, so that's why I got that right there. So that's my full build there for the M13B. Kind of looks a little bit wacky, but yeah, I'll get what it is. Lastly, we're taking a look at one of my favorite guns that's going to utilize some iron sights, and that is the M4. So this is a fantastic one here, and we have a reoccurring attachment once again with that Komodo Heavy, so I'm not going to explain that. The tuning is going to be a plus 0.62 and a plus 0.18. Now we're going to go up in here, run the High Tower 20 barrel. This basically does the same thing as that Bruin Echelon barrel, so really not going to explain this one. I just got to say that out of all these barrels down here, like out of all these things you guys can possibly run, the High Tower is definitely the best. The tuning is going to be a plus 0.16 and a minus 0.25. By the way, I have like full gameplay of this on the channel. If you guys want to see that, go check it out as my most recent upload. You guys can see just absolutely dominate. Of course, we got the FTAC Ripper on here, just aiming idle stability, hipfire accuracy, and recoil stabilization. Of course, we cannot tune it right now, which is kind of a little bit crappy. We're gonna go throw on the 45 or the 60 round mag. If you want peak mobility, throw on the 45. If you're like me and I was playing quads, I swapped it over to the 60. I think I just had the variant saved here with the 45, but I'm just gonna go probably resave that for the 60. So definitely go throw that on there. And lastly, we're gonna go throw on a rear grips, which is actually pretty unique to this gun, the SOC and ZX grip that increase in recoil control. This just makes this very easy to be able to use and makes it so it doesn't bounce around, especially because you get a little bit of that muzzle flash with this gun. It makes it very easy to be able to see out those iron sights. So the SOC and ZX grip kind of mitigates any and all that bounce, and it's really awesome. The tuning is gonna be a plus 0.55 and a plus 0.20. That's my full build there for the M4. Give it a shot. Let me know what y'all think about these down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed, give it a like, subscribe, check out this other video on screen. I'll see you guys all next time.